Well, hello and welcome. Well, today I'm back in Wales. I'm actually in Porthcawl at the moment, but I'm going to take you on a walk to the Brecon Beacons, which is going to be a bit different. Well, in today's walk, I'm going to be exploring the western side of the Brecon Beacons, starting near Ogof Caves. And the reason I'm doing this walk, I'm going to see if I can find the remains of an old World War II bomber which crashed in November 1944 on a training exercise. The reason I'm doing it today, I have some Canadian relatives over, and we're going to see if we can find this crash site and memorial because the crew of this Wellington bomber were Canadian. It's an interesting story, although a very sad story, and I'll tell you more about that when I get there. By the way, the Canadian relatives probably won't be appearing on camera, it'll be just me. So anyway, I'll see you when we start the walk on the Brecon Beacons. So we've parked just down from Ogof Caves, and basically that's where we're heading. You can park in a small lay-by by the church there, about 500 yards down from Ogof Caves. So from the church, we head down back towards Ogof Caves, and there's a footpath on your right. So that's where we're heading now. Well, it's very different today on a sunny summer's afternoon to what it must have been like on the 20th of November 1944. A training flight of a Vickers Wellington MF509 was doing a cross-country exercise. It was crewed by 6 Canadians from the 22nd Operational Training Unit. They suffered a problem with the starboard engine. It's believed there could have been a problem with icing. Anyway, they couldn't maintain height and they hit the side of Carreg Goch Mountain, and that's where we're heading. Well, sadly, the 6 crew of the Wellington bomber were all killed, and they were buried with military honours in a military graveyard near Chester. But the plane itself, the Wellington bomber, was just left on the side of the mountain, and now it's a memorial for the 6 crew, and we should find some poppies, some Canadian flags, and this leads me on to another interesting story about the place and how they found the surviving families of the 6 crewmen. Well, obviously the families were informed of the deaths, but they didn't know the details. After all, it was wartime. But shortly after the accident, a local person found a photograph of one of the crew or they didn't know exactly who it was, lying in the area of the crash. And that was posted on a blog 6 years later, I think around 2005. And that blog is still live. I'll put a link to it below. It's quite interesting to follow the posts on that blog, because they managed to find the families. Not long ago, a few of the family members actually came up to the crash site to pay tribute. So it's an interesting story. Have a look. Again, link below. So we're getting pretty close now. I think we're on the other side, the eastern side of the mountain. Like I said, today is pretty nice, but in the winter, it's a pretty bleak place. Just look at this terrain. It was a hard walk to get here. Imagine this at night, low cloud. Maybe you can just make out the Canadian flag. Before anyone says anything, we're not walking over the wreck itself. We're filming from outside the crash site. Well, I hope you found this story and this walk interesting. A sad story, but one of many from this period in time. Anyway, I'll see you in another video coming up shortly. Bye.